Week is Christmas, which means Santa hat, Christmas tie, Santa pants. We're good. Hey y'all, Cornelius here, and I don't know about you guys, but I remember giving gifts as a kid being a little bit tricky sometimes. Now, you know, most kids growing up, when they think about Christmas presents, they think about what Santa's gonna bring them, but growing up, we didn't really have that whole Santa thing, so it was, you know, we knew these presents were coming from Dad and Mom, and, you know, these presents were coming from Grandma and Grandpa, and so on and so forth. But that also meant that growing up, we also were getting presents for people. So, not always the easiest. Now, when you're getting Christmas presents for people, some people are easier than others. You know, my sisters were actually pretty easy to shop for. Because, you know, my oldest sister, Angela, she likes to knit and crochet and stuff. So growing up, just go to any store, get some decent quality yarn, you're good. For the middle sister, Hannah, when we were little kids, just find something with a horse on it because she was really into horses. But then getting into teen years, perks of having a bookworm for a sister, just pick a book, give that to her. It works. Now, with Mom, there wasn't really a formula, but if you paid attention, she'd usually tip her hand as to what she'd be interested in getting for Christmas. Now, as a rule, we weren't trying to hide what we wanted for Christmas to make it a challenge for each other. It's just a case of nobody really wanted to be that weird person that's like, okay, so I want like everything for Christmas, because we've all seen the Christmas movies. That character is a jerk and is always the villain. But here's the thing, you know how I said most of us wouldn't make it a challenge on purpose? I'm still wondering if my dad was trying to make it a challenge on purpose. Because you see, Dad, either he'd have everything that he wants, there'd really be nothing you could get for him that he didn't either already have or really wouldn't have an interest in, or the thing that he'd want would be like stupid expensive. Like one year, Dad wanted this thing, it's called a torque wrench, not to be confused with Torx wrench, because that's not confusing ever. Basically, the way a torque wrench works is as you're wrenching something down, it'll tell you how tight it is, how much pressure is on whatever you're tightening, which is really helpful because, like, if you're putting a wheel on a car, it needs to be tightened down to a certain amount, and if it's not tightened down to that amount, your wheel could go flying off your car halfway down the highway, which I definitely don't have any experience with, and that video is definitely not somewhere on this channel. So when it came to Dad's Christmas present, we usually all had to pitch in to get one big item, which got a little bit awkward when we were going around unwrapping presents, because, you see, we would all separate our presents out. So Hannah's would be over here, Angela's would be over here, mine would be over here, Mom and Dad's piles would be next to each other. And Dad's was always the smallest. Because whereas all of us kids would have, you know, our presents from each other, plus the ones from Mom and Dad, and maybe if Grandma or Grandpa sent something, those would be in the piles too, sometimes. But Mom usually had a smaller pile, but it was bigger than Dad's. Dad was like, you know, we'd have like 7-10 items in our piles. Dad would have 2. Max. And we would like all take turns, you know, going around the room. Everybody opens one present. So for Dad, so that it wasn't like he would open up a present right at the beginning and then just be sitting there, he usually became the target of what we like to call the prank box. Now, the prank box is a Cornell family tradition where you take the present and you find some way to wrap it so overly complicatedly, usually with about 7 layers, one of which is completely comprised of duct tape. And once you open one layer, you have to stop, and you can't keep unwrapping until everybody's, you know, taking another turn unwrapping a present. Dad was the favorite target for these because A, like I said, he usually didn't have as many presents, and B, That's just one of those people that it's fun to pick on him because he'll pick back. Like the best year by far as how we prank wrapped something, we got him an extension ladder because that was something he didn't have and he needed. Now, a 20-foot long extension ladder, and that's 20 feet, I believe, at its shortest. No. 20 feet when extended, 10 feet at its shortest. You can't exactly wrap that up and stick it under a tree. However, you can put it at a friend's house across town and tie a piece of string to it. And run that piece of string literally all the way across town. Wow, words. Okay. Can run that piece of string across town and tie it to a stick that is wrapped in under the tree. I really hope I can cut that out. If not, I'm an idiot. I never mute my phone before recording these. Eventually, I will stop doing that. Now, Dad wasn't the only person that we'd hit with these prank boxes. I remember the year that I got my first guitar, I got hit with a prank box. To give you an idea, the box was about that wide, that tall, really deep, and that was layer 1. Every layer was pretty solid, you know, like a box that was wrapped, something like that. The very bottommost layer was a piece of paper saying, "Yeah, we hid your present in your room." Well played, Mom and Dad. Well played. So yeah, sometimes the prank box would literally just have like a small piece of the present. Like there was one time I gave Angela a Christmas present and it had a bolt on it, so I took the bolt off of the Christmas present and put it in a box and put that box in another box and so on and so forth till Yzma would be depressed that she didn't think of going out this far. And that was what was under the tree. So kids, if you're trying to think of how to make Christmas more interesting, or adults, if you feel like being a total pain to your kids, because why not? It's funny. Yeah, take a present and wrap it, and then wrap it again, and keep wrapping it until it takes them like a good 20 minutes to get through this. Oh, and also another fun rule, unless you're trying to get through the layer that is solid duct tape, knives aren't allowed, if I remember correctly. And even then, sometimes with the duct tape layer, knives were frowned upon. Mostly because the rest of us thought it was funny. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, then, you know, there's YouTube-y things, like liking, commenting, subscribing, all that fun stuff that I'm sure you already know about. Feel free to do so. Suggested videos floating around here somewhere, depending on where I decide to put this clip on the screen. And, yeah. Thanks, y'all.